Hello and welcome to another episode of Erongo Talk. I'm your host, Iréne-Mari van der Walt, and I'm joining you from the Old Steamer restaurant in Swakopmund today. Today we celebrate World Ozone Day, and Brandt Von West is going to tell us a little bit about what it takes to be a creative trainer, as well as some projects he has in the pipeline. As always, I will bring you the news, weather, and tide, so stay with us. We'll be right back after this. So before we start off today's news, be reminded that there is going to be a pop-up question somewhere on your screen this morning that you can, when you answer the question, you can win your share of $1 million in accommodation vouchers. So be on the lookout for that question, and then we're going on to today's news. So in our first story for today, VBPRS, the Walvis Bay Private High School, bids farewell to their principal. The Walvis Bay Private High School bid farewell to their long-serving principal, Estelle Eigelaar, on 31st of August 2020. Eigelaar retired as school principal after 24 years and 6 months in the position. She matriculated from the Grens High School in East London in 1978. She said, "I completed my education qualification at the University of Cape Town in 1982. My first appointment was at Walvis Bay Private High School, then known as Hoërskool Walvis Bay." So this is quite a hefty career as a school principal at the same school. She relocated to South America at the end of 1983, and for 3 years taught primary school learners of South African citizens in Caldera, Chile. We returned to Walvis Bay at the end of 1986, where I acted as a relief teacher at the Dana Secondary School for a trimester, and then joined VBPRS once again at the end of 1987, where I stayed until August 2020. She became a head of department in 1991, and in 1996 became the principal at the age of 35. At this stage, the school went through very difficult times with a new medium of instruction and new curriculum being introduced. Immediately after my appointment, I completed my principal's diploma in professional leadership, and throughout the years I attended principal symposiums, workshops, and seminars to keep on par with the challenges of my profession. Eigelaar says that being a principal in a diverse community gave her incredible pleasure. To make the school a better place, to be part of appointing staff members to help learners develop and excel was definitely some of the many highlights of being the principal of VBPRS, she said. She continues saying that the mission of the school includes upholding Christian values, creating a school spirit for the equal development of all individuals to their full potential, and encouraging each learner to take responsibility for themselves through partnerships with parents and the community. It was at times quite challenging to find a balance for myself, she said. A day in the life of the principal comprises of making sure school operations run smoothly. She says, planning accordingly, communicating and giving feedback, documenting and recording data was what kept me busy on a daily basis. Being available meant that situations could be dealt with immediately, and small problems did not become giants as they were dealt with as soon as possible. She says that retirement looks good for her. She was quoted in saying, "Being a school principal has its level of stress, as problems not necessarily your own come your way every single day. In the retirement phase of my life, I would like to de-stress, see, explore, travel, and broaden my horizons," she said. She adds that being a school principal literally requires you to be on duty 24/7. "In the little spare time left over for myself, it was of utmost importance to seek tranquility and peace, so that when the following day and the following challenges arose, I was well rested, prepared, and ready for what came next." So we wish her all tranquility and peace in her retirement. She says, "The school as a professional learning center provided a setting that is richer and more stimulating, and my message to the incoming principal, teachers, and the learners is to continue on this path where relationships between teachers and parents and teachers and learners are constantly improved to create a fruitful scenario for better learning and better results." So Eigelaar was not only a school principal, she was also a mother and a wife. So Eigelaar is happily married with 2 daughters and a son, all products of VBPRS and the University of Stellenbosch, where they obtained degrees in civil engineering. "I have 6 grandchildren, 3 boys and 3 girls, all under the age of 6, she said. It was my motto to arrange my personal life around my career and not the other way around. As a result, I'm now looking forward to concentrating on my personal life, take care of things that are long overdue, explore the creative side of my life, and enrich my inner self, she said. So then on to another story in Afrikaans. Volgens die raadslid vir Walvisbaai se stedelike kiesafdeling, meneer Noli Chipinge, het die uitvoerende hoof van die munisipaliteit, Moringa Ngora, versuim om lig te werp op die geskatte 24 miljoen Namibiese dollar wat glo spoorloos verdwyn het. Ek het oor die nuus gehoor dat meneer Ngora na 'n spesifieke bankrekening verwys. Die miljoene waarvan daar gepraat word is egter sedert 2014 in die betrokke bankrekening. Ipinge voer aan dat die geld wat weg is, bekom is deur die verkoop van huise wat gebou is onder die vaandel van die massa-behuisingsprogram in 2017. Die massa-stedelike program het eers tussen September en Oktober 2017 amptelik afgeskop. Dit beteken dat die miljoene waarna Ngora verwys alle geruime tyd in die rekening waarvan hy praat is. Hy het gesê dat die vraag ontstaan dan na watter miljoene meneer Ngora verwys. Ek vra spesifiek vir duidelikheid oor die miljoene van die massa-behuisingsprogram en nie na ander geld nie, het Ipinge beklemtoon. Hy voer aan dat erwe na 24 miljoen Namibiese dollar in die aansoeker se naam geregistreer is onder die vaandel van die program. Maar hierdie geld het glo nooit die munisipaliteit se bankrekeninge bereik nie en word dus nie in die geauditeerde finansiële state weerspieël nie. Ngora het vroeër op navraag bevestig dat daar geld van die massa-stedelike gronddiensprogram in die munisipaliteit se bankrekening is en gesê dat daar vasgestel moet word vir watter eiendom hierdie geld bekom is. Ipinge het 'n week gelede gedreig om regstappe te neem teen individue en entiteite wat by die projek betrokke is. Hy het gesê, ek is in die proses om regsadvies in te win oor die aangeleentheid. Die bewyse is daar, maar ek wil 'n sterk saak voorlê sodat ek nie nog moet gewik of geweeg word oor vervolging van die prokureur-generaal nie. Hy het gesê die individue wat betrokke is, moet verantwoordelik doen. And then back over to English for your COVID-19 update. The Minister of Health and Social Services, Dr. Kalumbi Shangula, announced 83 new COVID-19 cases, 665 recoveries, and 3 COVID-19 related deaths. The Minister said that 1,010 test results were received, and of the positive cases, 44 were male and 39 were female, with the youngest patient aged merely 1 year old and the oldest 71. Confirmed cases are distributed as follows. Windhoek 41, Walvis Bay 6, Swakopmund 4, Omaruru 1, Usakos 1, Rehoboth 7, Oshikoto 7, Onanjokwe 5, Tunep 2, Okaanja 3, Okakarara 1, Grootfontein 1, Oshakati 3, Inhana 3, Rundu 2, Ludwig 1, Katimimulilo 1, and lastly, Gubabas 1. He says the figures are encouraging. This should really motivate us to keep adhering to the prevention measures. We have noted countries where measures were relaxed when the situation seemed to be improving, then a huge resurgence follows. We need to remain vigilant, he emphasized. Shangula also obviously announced the 665 recoveries, over which we are very excited, with 478 recorded recoveries in the Erongo region. Then 155 were from Kumas, 12 were from Hadap, 5 from Omayeke, 3 from Ohangwena, 3 from Oshana, and 2 from the Karas region. Of the active cases, 15 are in severe critical condition, he said. In the Erongo region, one patient is severely sick and 4 are critical, while in the Komas region, 3 are severely sick and 7 are critical, he said. One of the reported deaths involves a 30-year-old man from Walvis Bay. He had known comorbidities and passed away in the hospital last Friday on the 11th of September. The 2 other deaths were recorded in Windhoek. Both patients died in hospital and had multiple comorbidities. So our hearts do go out to the families of those who have lost family members in the time of COVID-19. Please remain vigilant. Please adhere to the restrictions. We can only beat a resurgence if we do it together and if we maintain and stick to the current COVID-19 prevention measures. So please take care of yourselves. That concludes your news for today.
with me today is Brandt Von West, creative trainer, former teacher, author, public speaker, and the list goes on. How are you doing today, Brandt?
I'm fantastic. Thank you, Leandro.
So, Brandt, please tell us, you have this title, creative trainer. What exactly does a creative trainer do, and how do you wind up being a creative trainer?
Well, it's a journey that you take, really. A creative specialist, someone who trains people in creative thinking skills, who does consultation. It's basically, at the end of the day, it's getting people to see more solutions, then focus on more problems. So what I do is I consult with CEOs, companies, so forth. I train people, staff, executives, to be able to think better, to think more, to think up. So it's not just, oh, we've got so many problems, it's how can we use what we already have, how can we see different things, how can we build solutions.
So how do you end up being a creative
How do you end up being
trainer?
a creative trainer? Essentially, you just need to study creativity. So there's many books on creativity. You can start with Alex Osborne, who's someone I haven't out the book.
Wow.
And then did some minor editing and then
Bob's your
published it
uncle.
online, yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, Brandt, you've written before as well. Can you just tell us
Yes.
about the books that you've launched before?
Right, so there's the 4 keys to innovation, which is my 4 keys that you need for a company to be innovative, which is you need creative thinking, you need to be able to negotiate, network, you need to be able to do different things, and there's specific structures, and I don't really want to give it all away, but it's different structures that I have found that you need to have in place in your company to be innovative. So I got sick of going to conferences and everybody speaking, it's like, you need to be innovative. You need to be an innovative company. And when I stand up and I ask, what does that mean? Nobody actually had an answer because it just came out to be a buzzword. So I said, how do we become innovative? Well, you need to start with being creative first. You can't implement an idea if you didn't have the idea first. So creativity is the forefront of it, and then you need to network with other people. You need to be able to tie these things together. So that was the one book. And then I've got 12 principles of creative leadership. To be a creative leader in a modern day, especially to be able to be you don't have all the answers. So you are basically a circle making more circles around you to support and grow. So you allow people to converge and diverge. So it's not about this idea is wrong or this idea is good. It's about reaching consensus with different people. And I've got 12 principles that I put into a book for that. And there's lots of fiction books and stories that I wrote. But
Really, but where can we find it?
oh, well, most of those things are now out of print, long time ago. Focused on teaching and all kinds of different things. But yeah, I will possibly eventually rehash those books.
Please. So then what's next for you, Brandt, concerning your writing?
Well, writing-wise, my next book would be called Think Like a Fighter.
Aha.
And it's basically about starting and growing a small business. And it's got principles of how to do things, because most people think, like, I need a business license, I need to be able to do this, I need a place to sell things from, and you really don't need anything except your brain to start making money. And because of the digital world, and people seem to get this wrong as well, because we all think we're now in the 4th industrial revolution, which is what I really would like to call the digital revolution.
Aha.
You need to be online, because like I've said now, it took me 2 weeks to write this book. I put it out online and I marketed a bit here and created groups here and quizzes and all kinds of things. We're now up to 6,000 sales.
Sure.
So it's instead of focusing on Swakopmund, for example, or Walvis Bay, you focus on an entire planet of people who are interested in what you need to do.
Yeah, true.
So you can do things with the least amount of money. A fighter doesn't start with stepping onto the grand ring and going up for a title. He has to start small and he grows big.
Exactly. And then, Brandt, people are set in their ways of thinking. How do you start thinking creatively? You know, our youth is being programmed in the sense of you finish your school, you go study, and set up your own business or whatever the case may be. What's your opinion on that? How would you advise the youth outside to just think a bit differently?
That's an interesting question because there's so many different ways of looking at things. So first of all, I want to see why you're looking at things the way you are. So first identify a little bit of introspection here. Why are you looking at things like, maybe you want to have systems and techniques and all kinds of things in place. Wonderful, I've got tools for that. Maybe you're more like me, you've got like 1,000 ideas running all the time, and you need to just like pick one and focus on that. We've got tools for that as well. I need to understand who you are first as a person, because then I would rather work with you than against you or through you. So I can't work through you to have my own ideas and ideals to, which is unfortunately a parent thing to do. Parent is a lawyer, they want a child to become a lawyer, so they push that child to become a lawyer.
Yes.
Whereas what I try and do is I want to try and find out who you are as a person, how you think, how do you reason, what are you looking for? And then I want to work with you to reach your full potential, which is actually what we're trying now with the Dome. The Dome's launching an Entrepreneurs Factory.
Ah, nice.
And that's the exact same thing that they're trying to do now, is to find out who that person is and then grow it from there, to get their own business running, to become a writer, to be the entrepreneur.
Cool. So it's just about thinking differently at the end of the
Well,
day.
it's not just thinking differently. And one of my sort of like trigger points I want to say is when people say think outside the box. I say there is no box. Because unfortunately what you do is when you say think outside the box, you actually put them in a box.
Exactly.
Because now all you're doing is you're looking for things that's out there, somewhere else, instead of thinking, what do I already have? And what can I already do with the things that I have? So thinking outside the box is wonderful, but I want to see thinking inside of it first. And then you can add more boxes. And maybe you don't say, I don't even like boxes, I'm more of a hula hoop person.
Yes, exactly. Now, Brandt, let's just say 5 years from now, where do you see yourself being a creative trainer, author, etc., etc.?
Ooh, 5 years. 5 minutes from now, I'm going to go down to Zesty and have something to eat. 5 years from now, I think I would like to see more people adopt creativity.
Yes.
And especially creative entrepreneurship and creative entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is where you take all the skills and knowledge and experience and that drive of an entrepreneur, but you apply it inside of a company you're already working with. So I would like to see, and it's really happening in the last few years, that more people are adopting the idea of what creativity is. More companies are more open to exploring creative thinking skills and techniques.
Cool. And then just finally, Brandt, we find ourselves in COVID-19, so we're a lot restricted. So now would be a time to think outside the box or no box.
Yes, there's no time. Now is the perfect time, which is what the Dome has decided, like, bring me on board as a consultant, and it's like, look, we need more people to think better, and not just so much different, but how can we work within the guidelines and still provide the best possible experience for our clients and our customers. And so then that's what I do. I sit in meetings and I take in the ideas and I build up on ideas.
Cool. Is there any place we can follow you? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter?
Yeah, all those things. I'm on all the socials. So you can just at Think Von West, and then I pop up everywhere. You can go to my website, thinkvonwest.com. On Facebook, Think Von West. Twitter, Think Von West. Instagram, Think Von West.
Cool. Thank you so much, Brandt, for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much.
And now for your weather and tides. The coastal town saw a high tide at around 2:30 this morning, and expected low tide again at about 8:30 this morning. High tide is expected again just before 3 o'clock this afternoon, and low tide expected just before 9 o'clock tonight. As Walvis Bay saw sunrise at 57 minutes past 6 this morning, and expect sunset at 56 minutes past 6 tonight. A maximum of 18 degrees Celsius with a south-southwesterly wind prevailing, and a minimum of 11 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 18 degrees Celsius expected for Walvis Bay tomorrow. Swakopmund saw sunrise at 57 minutes past 6 this morning, and expect sunset at 56 minutes past 6 tonight. A maximum of 16 degrees Celsius with a west-southwesterly wind prevailing. For For tomorrow, a minimum of 12 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 16 degrees Celsius expected. Henties Bay saw sunrise at 58 minutes past 6 tonight and expect sunset at 57 minutes past 6 tonight. A maximum of 16 degrees Celsius with a south-southeasterly wind prevalent in Henties Bay, a minimum of 12 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 17 degrees Celsius expected for tomorrow. Arandis expects a maximum of 23 degrees Celsius today with a southerly wind prevailing and a minimum of 11 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 28 degrees Celsius. Osako saw sunrise at 53 minutes past 6 tonight and expects sunset at 52 minutes past 6 tonight, a maximum of 30 degrees Celsius with a south-southeasterly wind prevailing. For tomorrow, a minimum of 12 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 35 degrees Celsius. Karibab saw sunrise at 52 minutes past 6 this morning and expects sunset at 51 minutes past 6 tonight, a maximum of 29 degrees Celsius with a south-southeasterly wind prevailing, a minimum of 12 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 35 degrees Celsius expected for tomorrow. Omaruru expects a maximum of 30 degrees Celsius today with a southerly wind prevailing and a minimum of 11 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 34 degrees Celsius. That is your weather and tides for today.
Hey guys, I'm Suzal Pronk. I'm a Namibian karate athlete and I enjoy watching Erongo talk.
That unfortunately brings us to the end of today's episode of Erongo Talk. We hope you caught our pop-up question, and if you don't win today, don't worry, tomorrow's another day. So remember that you can get in touch with us via our social media on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter, and you can also check out the stories I discussed earlier and much, much more at www.erongo.com.na. That's www.erongo.com.na. Remember that you can also send us a WhatsApp for advertisement opportunities or to let us know what's going on in your community at 0811 7040. That's 0811 7040. Until next time, please stay safe, please stay healthy, please maintain your social distancing, wear your mask, sanitize your hands, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. We can only beat COVID-19 if we work together. Bye!